G'day and welcome back for more Survival Impossible. We're going to be heading into the test world because there are a few things that you guys pointed out about my test rig that are probably important to know. One of the key bits is there might be a minimum speed, or a maximum speed I should say, that the mag plates can actually lock at. So we're going to jump into the test world, and in here I have a bit of a test rig set up. We have 10 pistons, which makes it easy to maths out what the total speed is of this last grid, where we've got a mag plate within lock range of this surface, which extends way out there. What I've done is on this button panel here, I've got different speeds for the pistons. So I've got 0.5 meters per piston, 1 meter per piston, 2 meters per piston, 3. So the total speed that this will be moving at will be 5 meters per second, 10 meters per second, 20 meters per second, or 30. And then I have this event controller here set up to trigger that mag plate to lock when one of these pistons exceeds 10% of its extension. So because pistons instantly accelerate to their correct velocity...
No.
Quiet, Sue lady. Because they instantly get up to their required velocity, this will trigger the mag lock when they are at the speed that I'm desiring. Now, today's episode is going to be a little bit shorter than usual because I'm expecting a power outage for most of today, and today is usually when I record and edit Survival Impossible, so I'm going to try and get something done before my computers just decide to go boo, and my UPS starts beeping at me. So let's get to it. Test 1. 5 meters per second. And it locks. Okay, cool. There we go, retract. So at 5 meters per second, it can lock. Let's try 10. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. All right, I have a thing that I need to do to check this again. Now, does it bounce too much? Is that the problem? All right, let's try 10. Blam. The ready to lock, I think, went away. I can't say for sure, but I think it did. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a control seat on this little grid and see if the ready to lock does switch off, because if I'm traveling with it, I should be able to make a much better guess at it. And now onto our new setup where I can see the mag plate the whole time and I will move with it. So let's try again at 10 meters per second. Ah, ready to lock has actually gone. Interesting. And as soon as I move back to slower, it comes back. Slow, fast goes away. Okay. I think we might have found our culprit. So somewhere between 5 and 10 meters per second, it stops working. Let's see if I can figure out where that point exactly is. This is cool. I like learning things. So 5 meters per second, fine. 6 meters per second, still okay. 7 meters per second is getting iffy. But we go back to 6 and we're safe. 7 is getting iffy. Let's return. We'll try 8 again. So 7's iffy, 8 is a no. Okay. Huh. That is cool to know. Mag plates do not work consistently above really 6 meters per second. So that's really slow. So a mag plate locking system for the train is basically only going to be useful as the very last bit to stabilize it. I need to use the wheels themselves to get most of the speed gone. So with that in mind, let's set up another test. Ideally, I wouldn't be doing so much testing right now, but I need to know. I need to make this safe. I need to make sure that my train isn't going to crash. Or I just risk it. So, the things that we need to do with the emergency stop are, we're going to need to get our programmable block here and do run. And the command we're going to add is brake_on. Because this command actually works for setting the parking brake. And I'm very grateful for this having been pointed out. So, as you can see on my hotbar, I've got brake on, brake off. If you look at the remote control, if I go brake off, brake on, brake off, brake on. So I can put my parking brake on. We now have the sensor triggering the brake. So I think it's time to test if the brake is enough for this to slow down enough for the mag plates to lock. And at what speed is it safe to do that? Another thing to talk about with the sensor is that I needed to lift up the bottom bit of the sensor. The idea being that if the bottom sensor is higher, I can actually push this out further in front of me. But I also need the hinge to be dynamic with speed, because if this is too far out in front of me, I'm not even going to be able to build at low speeds. So at low speeds, the hinge can come down, and at high speeds, the hinge is going to come up. So we'll set that up in the proper world, but we're just going to test it in its current position right now, because this is kind of optimal testing conditions. So let's go. Brakes off. 10 meters a second. We're going to try and see if this can stop us in time. With the brake in its current position and the train at its heaviest. 600 tons of train has a lot of inertia, so this is going to be pretty likely to fail. But there are a lot of wheels, so who knows? There is a way to make the wheels more effective, which is to increase their friction, but because you can't set their friction, it's kind of annoying. I'd have to do multiple ticks of it. And, I just didn't want to. I wanted to see if this would work without having to go to that trouble. So here we go, 10 meters a second. And... oh! Safe with 5 meters to go. Yeah! All right. Okay, we need to go faster. Now this test, I'm just going to see how fast I can get from this point. I think I'll go close to 20 meters a second. See if this manages to save us. Or maybe I won't get to 20 meters a second because I'm going uphill. Oh well, 15 is the test, I guess. Oh! Nice! That, I think, would be recoverable. In fact, let's test. Let's see if I can recover this. We need to unlock return. Then brakes off. And recovered. Oh yeah. Now that would be even easier to recover if I had an extra carriage, because it'd have even more tractive effort still on the rail itself. Cool. This is going well. All right, full speed test. I'm sure it will not work at full speed, but, you know, at least we know we've got some safety at lower speeds. In fact, I think I'm about to test whether this is going to work at, let's save so I can restart it. How quickly this can go around this corner. That's terrifying. But it's doing it. It's doing 30 meters a second around the corner with the worst conditions possible, which is fully loaded with steel plate. Cool. Alright, let's do this thing. Last test, and let's get on to building some stuff. The more I think about the sim world, the more I realize it's just me being a big kid playing around, smashing my toys, but without having to clean up the mess afterwards. And I kind of don't feel bad about that. I think that's fine. Hopefully you guys enjoy seeing them smash as much as I do, because it is fun. And if there are other things that I might want to test this way, I will probably do so. But I'm going to try and keep use of it to things like this train where it would just be near impossible to rebuild it. Oh, this is not going to end well. Yep.
Fuel critical.
Yeah. Alrighty, so let's go fix up our safety device on the actual train. Thankfully it doesn't require too much work, but what it does need is a bunch of event controllers. Now where can I fit these in? I think this is going to be my best spot. So safety for sensor front, we're going to go front extend 50 meters. Bottom extend is going to come up to 0. Top extend is going to make it a little bit bigger just so that it's more likely to actually pick things up. Show on hard, and let's show sensor field range and just have a look at how far that sticks out. So that's a long way. So let's now have a look at what hinge angles I can use where this is still going to sense the rail. So -5 still works. Let's go to -4. -3. That's... oh, I think I might have to go to -3.5. Just looking at that going, is that actually going to pick up when I go around a corner, because that's a long way ahead. And is that going to pick up if I go over a bit of, as I start to slope downwards? I don't think that is. So I think we'll stick at 4 degrees as the top limit. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 blocks. So, 22.5 meters in front. That's a decent amount of time for it to pick up that things are going wrong and to engage those brakes. So yeah, I think we could possibly save it, at least if it's not loaded. So now, event controllers. Okay, let's try this out. Once I get some food and water. I've got event controllers set to specific speeds of the vehicle, where once it gets above that speed, it adjusts the angle one direction. If it gets below that speed, it adjusts it back down. We've got that for 2 meters a second, 5 meters a second, 10 meters a second, and 15 meters a second. So we'll see if that works, or whether I need to tweak it a bit more. Alrighty, let's test this thing out and see if I have made this work. Oh. How if I got rid of that block that's in the way, wouldn't it? Oh, look at that. Now we slow down. Slow down. So that's as close as it gets, and then we speed up. And it's going to get further and further out in front. I might need to adjust the exact positions of these things. Because at 10 meters a second, I probably want it further out in front than that. Let's see if we can get over 15 so that we can... There we go. And as we slow down, it comes down. Yeah, the initial settings are not ideal. Let's see if we can fix that. Also, I need to set up my programmable block so that I have handbrake on and off. All right, let's try this out. See if this feels a bit better. Yeah, okay. Yep. Yeah, that's nicer. That's a much better setup. Hey. Look at that. Cool. I think that's going to make this a lot safer. I do need to make that sense of range a bit wider though, because I think that's going to cause some issues on the corners at speed. And now I've just got to set up the safety device and we're good. Alright, I'm satisfied. I have a safety device that should be usable at low speeds and at high speeds, and at least substantially increase the chance that this will survive a situation where the track is damaged, destroyed, missing, not yet built in some way, shape or form. Cool. And I can just duplicate that setup on each end of each train and it'll be good. I think I'm happy. I think we can stop messing around with safety systems and start thinking about the next thing to do. And part of that is going to be trying to get that iron up at the asteroid so I can get it down here. Actually, there is one more thing for the safety thing, and it's totally frivolous and silly, and we may never see it. But, where are they? I don't have them on my hotbar anywhere. We need exhaust blocks. Oh, sires, this is a good one. And exhaust caps to spray out sparks when these get activated. So I'm going to add little exhaust caps inside the bogies that are going to be triggered to turn on and spray sparks when the brake gets triggered. Because that's just fun. So there we go. That's going to go off when the brakes go off. That's going to be ridiculous. That's the small effect, by the way. I haven't even chosen the big one. I think what we need to do at this point is reconnect to the launch air base. Check out how much iron is up there. And we got, what? Still about 700,000. So we still need to get some more up there. And when we head up there this time, I'm actually going to fly beyond the launch air base. I'm going to take my little pufferfish out and I'm going to see if we can find another asteroid that might be nearby. There may not be one that's very close, but I'm going to try and find out because I would like to know that there's more iron up there. And if there's not, then I have to come back and think about planetary ways of getting it. But there'll be some up there. I won't have to do planetary mining. It'll be fun. At least not for anything but magnesium and nickel and ice. Quite a few people have been asking about the radiation exposure of the vanilla survival experience. There are a few things you can do to deal with radiation in space so that you can stay up there longer than I have been. One of them is build gravity generators on your grids, because if there's a gravity gen as well as a pressurized environment, you will accumulate radiation slower. The gravity, think of the grav gen as like a magnetic shield for cosmic radiation. The other thing is making radiation tablets. And do you know what's required for both gravity gens and those radiation pills? Silver. The thing that I do not have. The reason I do not have a med bay still. Also, I'm becoming increasingly convinced that the sparks that I see from the launch air base, that's the drills. The drills are just active. Actually, speaking of the drills, let's have a look. Make sure that they're not full. No, they're good. How's the gold looking? Still refining, still got, geez, a lot of it to refine. But, oh yeah, 2,000 kilos of gold. I'm going to be bringing that back with me. Very nice. Which will, it'll be very nice having gold back at the base, at the main base, because then any magnesium loads I go collect yield more magnesium. Yay! Even less use of the road that I use so rarely, even after I put so much work into it. Still cool though. I still think the road's cool, even though I don't use it much. My Swiss cheese asteroid, that's only going to get worse. Oh boy. I kind of feel like maybe I should do a bit of a scouting run around it. In fact, I'm going to. My ore detector is set to full range, I believe. Both of them are. So there might be another iron deposit somewhere on this that could be worth extending a conveyor line to. So there's this iron down here. Well, there's iron over there. Huh, how did I not notice that giant bit of iron right there? There's iron where those drills are where I was starting, and it actually goes quite deep, so there's quite a bit there. Then there's another one there with some gold next to it. What about further around the asteroid somewhere? Check this far side of it, where I very rarely go. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's a lot. Okay, so it's those other two deposits are probably all there is. And then this gold deposit on the surface around here. Okay, that's okay. Can I see any other asteroids? I cannot. We are still fairly deep in the gravity well. Like, it's 0.18 Gs here, which is really not that different to the moon. So it's not a surprise that I can't see any other asteroids from here. There wouldn't be many this close to the planet. All right, we'll dock up. Let's go check out this drill situation. Those have almost reached as far as they can where they're at. Completely punched through the gold, which I can definitely collect some more of. But if I were to angle that down... Oh, yeah, that'd be quite difficult to get the iron with. So what I'm probably going to have to do here, what I think I will do, is build this drill as I was planning. Start getting it collecting this iron, collect this iron, and then I'll build a new drill or over to collect that. I know that's wasting a bit of resources because with all scrap, I use stuff up as I grind and remove these things, but I think in the grand scheme of things, it's quite small, and setting up a drill rig to connect to both of these bits at the same time, yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that. So let's get this thing built, because if I can get this started while I'm out there exploring, I can see how much iron I've got when I get back. All right, let's turn the drills on. See if they're actually able to send their material out. Yeah, looks good. All of them are clearing it. And now I have to very slowly clear out the space for this thing to actually spin around. And I don't want to use clearance mode on this, because if I did that, I would end up with a whole lot of iron getting deleted. And that is undesirable. Once this gets its first pass, then I can go exploring. Because I can start setting the piston to extend very, very, very slowly. Oh wow. I didn't realize how close I was to the edge of the asteroid then. Suddenly looking out and seeing space. Drill head can now fully rotate. Piston will very slowly extend. I will inevitably realize that I need to have even more pistons than just the one going down, but we can probably fix that with, I guess, maybe taking off the rotor, dropping the thing without having to disassemble the whole lot. We will cross that complicated engineering bridge when we have all the iron from this. But before I accumulate too many rads down here, I am going to go and grab the pufferfish, and we're going to go out into space for the first time in a very, very long time. Just one quick check of how much iron I've got. I really need to set up an inventory screen that says how much I've got, so I can just look at it rather than having to do quick maths. But we got a decent amount of iron ore there, so that'll start getting processed. What's that? Whoopsie. Sat in the chair a bit too long. Yeah. I've got less than 750,000, so if I have more than that when I get back, good. Pufferfish. Let's see if we can find some silver. At least with flying the pufferfish around, I've got a lot of protection in my pressurized space, so I don't accumulate the rads quite so quickly, so I can scan for a while. But we are going to go up. Turn that on, turn brakes off. We're going to go right out into space. Oh, asteroid seen. Let's check it out. Locked on, and checking the scan. So we have... Oh. Obstructed? Oh, wait. Because I got the two ore detectors. Hang on. How do I set which ore detector it's using? I just turn that one off. Does it stop? So this is seeing... What do we got? Impure iron, it looks like. And... impure uranium? What, really? Alright, let's go check it out. This asteroid might have uranium. Which is unexpected. Not the most useful thing I could have found. And it is still slightly in gravity. Like, uranium, don't get me wrong, awesome. But kind of defeats the point of my train. This makes me a little bit unhappy. I don't know how to feel about that. Don't want my train's point to have been defeated. Okay, impure uranium confirmed. And impure iron confirmed. So, I mean, I can't ignore this. But it is not the outcome I wanted. I might just mark this asteroid as a whole. We're at 0.06 gravity. Okay, mark it somewhere where I can spot a bit of both. / GPS, Gravteroid, uranium, plus Fe. Let's go check out the next one. Yeah, there's that asteroid over that way. That still feels even further away from the launch airbase than I would like, but I suppose I'm not seeing many other candidates. Aha! Candidate. Finally. Okay, what do we got? We have... I think... we might have uranium again? No, I think that's got to be the old scan. Yeah, it's giving me the old scan info. I think this does have iron, though. I can see it. Is this another impure iron and uranium? Is everything going to be iron and uranium? And is everything going to change what it's got as soon as the next update comes out? Where's my rads level at? 43. Take a little sip from my water packet. Hop back in my seat. I love this little shuttle. I'm so happy with how it turned out. I'm really proud of it. It is a design that came together surprisingly quickly. Alright, I can see the iron on that little asteroid. This cluster is quite spread out. Wonder if I can spot any of the supposed uranium. That's another asteroid over there. Another cluster. Military munitions drone. Yep, this is uranium and iron. Okay, can see them both right there. So for those of you wondering how I'm discerning what's in each of these asteroids, we look at the spikes, and I usually start with the spike first, find a thing that matches up to it, see if the other spikes match up, and we've got 3 for impure iron. Now we look at this spike, which wasn't on impure iron, and we see magnesium, magnesium, magnesium. The other 3 spikes are accounted for the iron, so we have iron and magnesium. So this is a magnesium asteroid. So it feels like if I manage to set up a way to mine these efficiently, I would be in a position to probably negate most of my efforts down on the planet. However, I intend to make space dangerous. I just need to set up I just need to have a magical amount of time to make ACS so that it makes space dangerous. Alright, we'll check out one more asteroid and then we'll head home. And this one has just magnesium. Rads are at 47, so I'm still good. I'm now 33 Ks from the launch air base. That's not too bad. Silver's what I really needed. If I'd found silver, I may well have hand mined some of it just to grab some. It doesn't look like today's my day for silver. I'll just scan this one at a distance, and if it's got silver, I'll go there. If it doesn't, I won't. So again, we take a look. We've got stone. We've got those 3 markers. Then this one lines up with nickel, nickel, and nickel. So yeah, that one's just stone and nickel. So if there was silver, I would need to have a line here, which that one's kind of close, but it's not quite aligned. And then there's definitely not one here. So there's no spike for silver there and no spike for silver there. So that's what I'd be looking for. And for those curious, this is the radio spectrometry mod, and it is honestly, I think, something that Keen should take some notes from and see if they can come up with a vanilla way of incorporating this idea. Because it is something that it's an active method of scanning, but at a distance, which is kind of perfect. I'm honestly surprised I'm not seeing any assert ships up here. I'm a little bit worried that the save might be a bit busted, because I haven't seen anything from assert in a very long time. I might have to look into that. It feels weird coming into the launch air base from space. Feels very, very weird. That's a fun view. For one of those rare times I built a base where I actually lit everything. I really need to do a better job of that in general. I say in this vehicle that only has interior lights and spotlights. Actually, that's probably fair. The shuttle doesn't need much more than that. It could have nav lights on it, I suppose. Alright, so we're back with 57 rads, 58% fuel, so I can still leave some fuel here even after that exploration, which is nice. I think I can extend the piston a little bit quicker. Let's up that speed a bit. I'd hoped it would get through the whole length of the piston while I was gone, but it was a bit slow. I was a bit worried with how wide this drill head is, that I might end up pushing it a bit too quickly, but because I'm really not sure how fast I can make this go safely. If I've got it going at 0.5 RPM, that means it makes 1 revolution every 2 minutes. So over 120 seconds, I want it to go no more than 2 meters. So if we go 2 divided by 120, my max speed that I can set this drill to safely is 0.016. All right, let's set the piston to that, and that should hopefully make this process a lot quicker. Set to 0.014, give myself some headroom. Because I think in my head I had added an extra 0. And so this was going about 1/10 of the speed that I needed it to go at. Or that I could have it go at. Hopefully now, this will actually mine a decent amount of iron. Yeah, that's working much better. That's a bit annoying. Cool. With that drill fixed, let's go check out the other one, because I think it might have reached its full extension. I can retract it and point it at the gold again. Plus maybe get some more other things. Maybe I could even try and point it at this iron. Don't think it'll reach it, but it could be worth a shot. Slash GPS point drill here. See if I can arrange it for that. Would be quite nice if I can manage to do that. Got 12, got 14 pistons, and it's 148 meters from me. I think I'm going to be like 1 piston short. But it's possible with all the way that I've arranged this that I've got that 10 meters. It's just not in the... Oh yeah, I probably do, because the pistons are stacked not perfectly. So I've probably got that 10 meters. I might be able to get the drill to just barely scrape that golden iron. So I'll give it a crack. Because I've now got quite a lot of gold. Like, I've got over 3,000 kilos of gold, which I think is pretty much enough to build a jump drive. Not that I have any use for a jump drive right now. I don't even know what I would use a jump drive for right now. Other than maybe going to investigate some other planet or something. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's kind of not all that much. But that means that I kind of want to just focus on getting more iron at this point. And I've got 634,000 kilos of the ore. In fact, do I need another cargo container? No, this large one's still there, and this large one's... So we still got one empty one. Cool. That is okay. Let's do terrain clearing mode. With terrain clearing mode, it should be safe for me to move this at a bit of a faster rate. Don't know if any of the pistons are going to be a problem. I'm going to go out into my suit, even though I kind of want to stay in that cockpit because that cockpit is a pressurized environment. My rads are getting high, and I would like to get this going before I have to leave. Let's go... Let's stick with doing this from the cockpit. Oh, I'm going to have to clear out some stuff. I'm not going to be able to get there. Got to clear some of this. This is going to cause a problem. With all my yield modules, I should basically get a straight conversion, if not slightly more iron in kilos from that iron ore than what I've dug. So that means I've got definitely an extra 600,000 kilos of iron ingots. Because they did change it, so you do get magic. So I'm just going to keep slowly adjusting this until I hit about what I think I need for this to work, and hope I can get there before these rads hit 100. Now I've got to make sure that I mine out enough of this that I do not hit it with these pistons, because if I do, the pistons will break. The drill head can tolerate a fair bit of force on it, but the pistons cannot. They will snap. So I'm going to make sure that as I bring this thing down to the right angle that I've cleared out enough, and that I haven't left any doom voxels. Which means I am probably going to run out of my rads limit before I can get this thing done. Ooh, that was possibly a little close to being a little too quick. And let's have a look. How close is that to the angle I need for point drill here? Still further down. Now I know I could be doing this from the cockpit, but I really want to keep a close eye on where this piston is in relation to these bits of voxel. So I'm really worried I'm going to snap it. And there's about to go my hydrogen. As I was reminded last time, I can actually remote into the pufferfish and get some if I get stuck. As long as I don't fall down to the planet, it'll be fine. Oh. Inventory full. Inventory full. Curses! This is the problem with my refinery setup. I can't really handle the fancy ore all that quickly. We have a look. The basic refineries are only meant to deal with stone. They're not dealing with the iron, and the fancy refineries are chock full of gold. So how much iron have I actually mined? 882,000, 1 million. So really, I've got about another, pretty close to another 2 million. No, I definitely have 2 million. Another 2 million kilos of iron ingots. They just have to be processed to get there. So that's another quarter of my railway done. Yeah. I should also probably ditch this gravel. That's a lot of excess gravel that I do not need. And it's taking up a lot of space. Did I actually build an ejector system down here, or did I just think about it? Just thought about it. Alright. Well, that seems like a goal I can do pretty quickly. So, I'm going to set up this ejector system so that it might, and it's a big might, it probably won't, but it might have giant boulders appear of vaguely near my base. It'll be vaguely near. It won't. I don't think they'll be visible, but you know, I want to give them a chance. So we'll come off this connector, this conveyor here, I think. Go with sorter, sorter. I'm going to do the double sorter because I think there is a proper chance that this could end up with larger boulders coming out of that connector. Although it's gravel, it doesn't matter. Never mind. They're not boulders. They're just little chunks of... They're just little cubes. We won't do that, because that's actually not that interesting. Probably want more cubes, not denser cubes. Throw out. Select all. There we go. That 500 tons of gravel will be gone in a year or two. 89 rads. Without the drill operating, I can't keep moving it, so I'm kind of stuck. I imagine the other one has reached the max extension of its piston now, so we can have a bit of an idea about... Ooh, come on, stop, please. Come on. Okay, bit of an idea about how much more I need to set up to be able to drill this out. So we kind of need it to be wider, or at least me to... No, I need it to be wider. But it definitely needs to go deeper too. Oh well, it made some good impact. 2 million iron is nothing to sneeze at. I'm just going to leave it as is though. I'm not going to work on that right now because we're at 91 rads and I think I pretty much have to leave. Oh, we're down to 130k, so no, most of the gravel's going to be gone. Sweet. Well, as I said, today's going to be a bit of a shorter one because of the power situation at home, which means I have to try and get things done and dusted much quicker than usual for fear that my computer will suddenly shut down. I'll be back to a normal episode next week where I hope I can get a whole lot of work done on the train and a whole lot of lining up these pods so they can actually land in the right spot. And if I'm doing all that, I might need some other goals. So if you've got any ideas, because I've been so fixated on the train, I haven't been thinking about other stuff, let me know. But there's all that and plenty more to come, and I will see you then.